Hey guys, I'm back for day 27 of the 100 horror films in 31 days. I got in 3 films today. First up, I had recorded off of Showtime or Cinemax, I can't remember which, but I watched 2016's Ouija, Origin of Evil. Of course, we all know that the first Ouija film was panned by the critics and the public in general. It was not a very good film. This follow-up is really kind of a precursor to the first film, and it goes into the backstory of the origins of the board and all those things, and it has a lot of kind of back and forth flashbacks between kind of this 1960s setting between this young couple, and then fast forwarding to today. And of course, in the middle of all this is a young girl with these powers of operating the Ouija board. It was okay. I honestly, I'm just not a fan of either of the films too much. I thought this Ouija Origin of Evil was better. It was definitely better than the first film, but maybe just marginally. It just didn't really do too much for me. I give it a 5 out of 10. Then I watched a proto-slasher film that was thought to be lost. Apparently, Garage House Pictures found a copy of The Intruder from 1975. Now, this is an interesting film by Chris Robinson that stars Mickey Rooney. It's an interesting look at low-budget filmmaking in the mid-70s. It's not a great film. It's pacing. It has a lot of issues with pacing. I think the first hour takes too long to set up. But I like the payoff. I thought the payoff at the end, there was a twist ending, which you usually get with slasher films or murder mystery films, and this one certainly had that. You've got a situation here where you've got money involved, an inheritance, and a group of people that are basically travel by boat to this house to spend the weekend together. And of course, bad things happen whenever you get a bunch of people like that together. You've got a slasher going around, and there are some decent kills. I will give it that. I'm interested in hearing the backstory to this film because it is such a rarity. Yvonne DiCarlo is also in this. She gets kind of bumped off early, but it's a 4K transfer from the 35mm print. There's an audio commentary with the director, an archival interview with the director. So Garage House did a great job with this release, and I'm excited to have this in the old collection, The Intruder. Again, I don't know that it's not a classic film, but it's certainly a worthwhile watch. I don't know that it's one that I'll revisit. I give it a 6 out of 10. So that's The Intruder. And then finally, I finished the day with a really, really good film. This is a documentary from 1981 called The Killing of America. It's a film by a Japanese director. It's actually a collaboration, I guess. The director is Sheldon Renan. And there's actually 2 cuts of this film. I watched the English language version, which is 95 minutes. It's a 2K scan from the original negative. And then there's a Japanese language version, which is another 2K scan, which is longer. It's like 10 minutes longer. But essentially what this is it's a film about documenting the increasing level of violence in America. And it does it in a very, very compelling way. I was just fascinated with it. It starts off, it runs the gamut. It covers indiscriminate shootings of celebrities all the way to some famous serial killers. And I thought it did it in a very, very compelling way. I really enjoyed this Severin release. This is, I believe maybe it's Synapse. Let me see. No, it's a Severin release. Very powerful film. Glad to have this. This is one that I was so fascinated with it that as I was watching the film, I went online to research some of the things that it had talked about, because it's very compelling, and it takes the whole genre of serial killers and mass shootings to an interesting and different perspective. And it also has some archival footage of some hostage scenarios that I didn't remember. Some of those are pretty gruesome and graphic. It's a very gruesome, graphic film, and it's hard punch. It's a hard gut punch. It really is. Highly recommend this. I give this an 8 out of 10. The Killing of America. Highly recommended. So that will end day 27, and yeah, that's about. I'm just under 100 films now, so I'll break 100 films on Saturday. Appreciate you watching. Thanks.